Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Fountain Hills Executive Director Michael Wallet, and welcome to episode 14 of the Broadway Quarantine Cabaret. The Broadway Quarantine Cabaret is a fun virtual series where we give back to all of our supporters with free shows every weekend. The series will feature Fountain Hills Theater staff and performers, as well as many of the Valley's top entertainers live from their homes. Plus, we'll have a few featured Broadway performers coming to us from the East Coast joining in the fun. Now, we don't want you to miss out on any of our upcoming shows, so please hit that little red subscribe button on YouTube or follow us on our Facebook page. If you missed any of our earlier episodes, you can check them out on YouTube anytime. Just follow the bit.ly link listed on our posters. We truly want to thank everyone who has watched our show so far, and a big shout out to those of you who have donated during our shows. We truly appreciate your generosity. And before we get started with our special Broadway matinee, I do want to remind you about our recently announced live stage show that's going to be outside of our theater, the Broadway Drive-In Theater. It's going to take place for 3 nights only, May 28th, 29th, and 30th. The lot will open at 7:30 p.m. every night, and the show starts at 8 o'clock. It is all patrons remaining in their vehicles, and it will be a contactless experience from the beginning to the end. There's a limit of only 30 cars permitted per night in our parking lot, so get your tickets now. They are going quickly. You can go to our website, fhtaz.org, and get tickets to join us. It's just $30 a car load. You can load everybody up, bring the family down, bring your drinks and your food, and have a little dinner theater in your car while we entertain you through your FM radio. So come on down and check that out. Now, first up today for our special Broadway matinee is a good friend of mine. The Broadway community calls him the mayor of Broadway, and I'm not sure where that name originated, but we're going to ask him about that a little later. When I met him, he was appearing in the Broadway revival of Anything Goes with the amazing Patti LuPone at Lincoln Center. And it was one of my very first shows I saw when I moved there, and sticks in my mind forever. Jerry Sheemshamin right up there next to Patti LuPone. But soon after that, he made the big leap to the revival of Joseph, which was a big hit at the time, and went on to play a movie version, which starred Jerry as well, opposite the fabulous Donny Osmond. Here's just a little piece of it.
I hear these steel drums sing their song. They're singing and you know you've got it wrong. I hear the voice of the yellow bird singing in the tree. This is quite absurd. Oh yes, it's true. Benjamin is straighter than the big bamboo. No ifs, no buts. Benjamin is honest as coconuts.
There, that's good, baby Jerry there. We're going to bring on good old Jerry now. Hey, Jerry.
Hi, yes, hello.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm here in New York City, living the dream, people. Living the dream.
living the dream inside your apartment, I bet.
Oh, Lord, it's hard without a man in the house. It's wild. You feel like every day you wake up is Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Now you're by yourself, right? Nobody else with you?
I'm by myself. And this morning I thought, oh, this is it. Because I started talking to myself and figuring out what I had to do for the day. And I'm like, I stopped myself and went, who are you talking to? It was yeah. So,
it's scary. There's somebody else in here. Nope.
That's
just
right.
me.
But just admitting that you have a problem is the first step.
Now, were you in the middle of a project or something when all this went down?
Yes, I was choreographing Forbidden Broadway at the Iverton Playhouse, and we were about to start Tech. And it was a Friday rehearsal, and then all of a sudden I got my phone blew up, and it was saying that Broadway's shut down. And then the artistic director said, "We're not doing the show anymore, and we're shutting down, and we're going to be postponed, hopefully till September. And then all of a sudden, my life changed. It was I maybe 10 minutes that all this stuff just happened, and I went, oh, what, oh, and oh, okay. And then your plans and all that stuff that you thought was going to happen just disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's, that's the part about it, the thing to have that, like, you have to figure out how to deal with all that stuff and just rise above, because there's nothing else to do. There's no other choice. My mother told me I should, have another career, and I thought I'm not going to need it. But as it turns out, Domino's is hiring. I mean, so I'll make a pizza to make some money. I'm not mad at anything, but it's really like the rug was just like, boom. And then every theater, I was supposed to do a show at the Hangar. I was supposed to do a show at Sacramento, and people and Ain't Misbehaving. That was going to be my dream for the summer, and it just all just went tumbling down. And people just call you and go like, "Okay, well, this is what we have to do. The theater's shut down. There's no other choice." So you go, "Okay, well, all right. I'm going to make it through." That money, sweetie.
The money does not keep coming through, unfortunately.
That's the problem. That $600 for unemployment ain't helping nobody. I mean, that's my bar bill. I just can't. You have to, now all of a sudden everything's changed. I have one job this summer, supposedly, hopefully, at the Berkshire Theater Group, choreographing. They're playing our song in Godspell. I'm like this. And it's 5 weeks from now. So
everybody's still cautious right now. I mean, my theater I run here is, we've only got 125 seats, but you're like, you still can't put 125 people in a room. So can we put 50 people in a room? And how can we break even? It's like you're just trying to reinvent the wheel.
I just heard that thing, the drive-in theater thing.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I mean, I would be in a car with my friends who don't have the COVID. I'm in.
Yeah. And I mean, we're trying to be inventive. I mean, what else can you do at this point? We're just, if you're a theater person, you're used to just being busy all the time and doing too many projects at once. And, that's what we're used to. Yeah. And there's nothing, it's not happening for my staff. So we're going to do a show outside in the 100-degree heat.
Right.
It's 100 degrees in Arizona.
Oh my God. Oh dear God.
I know it's like 30 degrees in New York or something, right? Snowing
it snowed today, and ladies and gentlemen, it's May.
It's May, but there's no global warming. Don't you worry about it, nobody.
I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about any of it. I'm just like, I'm trying to be kinder. I'm just like, because of the COVID, I'm just like, you know what? Just be kind. Just listen to all the stuff, because there's a lot of stuff and a lot of people who, who are all of a sudden they're doctors and they're telling me information that this is what I need to survive. And I'm like, just be kind and just stay in my lane.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, when you become a doctor, because every time I see you with me, and you ain't no doctor. So what's going on? But everyone's like, you know what you need to do? No, tell me.
Tell me, doctor.
Tell me, doctor. Sorry, doctor.
Oh God.
Yes.
Now let's talk back to some happier times. Pre-COVID.
Yes.
When did you come to New York? Did you go to school for musical theater? How did you end up in this business?
I went to Montclair State, but it was called Montclair State then. Now it's Montclair University.
University, yes. Still in Montclair, people.
This is still the same school, y'all. I'm going to change my resume now. I wonder, do I have a resume anymore? Anyway, I moved here in 1984, and I got my equity card the first week I moved here, so I thought I was going to be like Ruby Keeler in 42nd Street. I've just arrived. And, it was I have to tell you that it was amazing because you graduate college, you say, okay, this is what my plan is. I want to be on Broadway in 5 years or something, or else I'm going to give up. And I got on Broadway the first year I got here, and it was just really amazing. And it just snowballed and was really amazing. My first show was Uptown It's Hot, which, if you were around that week, it lasted 2 weeks. We had previews for 2 weeks, so it was like a month at the Luntfontein, starring Maurice Hines. And I played, by the way, a shout out to Little Richard, who passed away. I played Richard and did everything and danced my butt off. Maurice Hines choreographed the show. That was unreal. Wow. We had oxygen in the wings.
Wow.
I was like, it was unbelievable. It's a black show, so we dance fast. It was a lot. It was fast. It was very fast. And then I got Anything Goes, and working with LaPone, I call her PLP. Working with her was amazing, and that whole experience was amazing. And then I think Joseph. Now I just can't remember the order. Joseph sounds so snooty. I can't remember the list of my Broadway shows, but I'll try. I think Joseph. Yeah.
Yeah, that was only a couple years after Anything Goes.
Yeah. So then I got Joseph, and it was like the gift that kept on giving, because I did it, and then they asked me to do the movie. They picked like 3 Americans. It was just Bob Torti and Jeff Blumenkrantz, and the 3 of us are in London in this amazing flat, having a driver pick us up every morning to take us to Pinewood Studios. I was like, my driver's downstairs, which made me laugh. I felt like Norma Desmond. It was so amazing. And that's one of the shows that people like recognize me from. I've been around since the beginning of time. But they love that Joseph video. I've been in bars. I've been to my friend Howie K's Dog Bar 106, and these 2 girls are across the bar looking at me and pointing at me like, they think I'm so hot. They're trying to pick me up, and absolutely not. They're like, they asked Howie, was like, was he in Joseph? I'm like, oh, well, yeah. Fantastic. And I got a tequila out of it. So what could go wrong?
Right. Well, that production, that movie, the film version was enormous.
Oh,
the sets, it's such a nothing small show, on stage, but it was amazing.
You're on this sound stage that I filmed my number when they filmed James Bond movies. And I'm going, what? Those are the times that you pinch yourself. That you think, well, this is it. This is what the box I checked. I want that life.
Yeah.
And then I think Once was next. Once on This Island, which was life changing and the most the most amazing show that I've ever done.
Yeah. That original production was so beautiful, and the cast was...
You saw it a million times, Michael, right? It was just that thing that, like, theater people always talk about.
Yeah.
How it was simple, and it was just the 10 of us, and we just did the show, and there was no sets and props and chandeliers, and Will Rogers, which it was that year.
Yeah.
We got nominated for 9 Tonys, and then it was like Will Rogers was, it was that thing in that time. So, they overshadowed us, but it was the best thing to be. Graciela Danielle, LaShawn's, Keisha, all of us, like, we had, and I think, I tell the stories like every night before the show was prayer circle, which I never experienced before. But that prayer got us on that stage. You leave, you get there at 7:30. Some of us got there at 7:30. I would have let that go, but you get there and you have the whole day, whatever the day you had, and then you come and you get your costume on and you stand in that circle and you pray before you get on the sacred stage. And it became a ritual, and it was important. and just for some reason it made it different. And then we did the reunion 20 years later that I got to stage also, and the audience at the Winter Garden when we walked out was well enough. That's when you know you were there and you made a difference. We couldn't start the show.
Yeah.
We couldn't start. I said, let's line up with our books. It was to go across the straight line. It's like, and then we'll walk, and then we'll go to our chairs and do the show. It was like,
yeah,
they stood, and the applause and the love and for the LaShawn, whose husband died in 9/11.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments I'll never forget.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that original production a zillion times because you used to paper us in. Right. Don't tell mama people. And it was over by 9:25, so we could be at work at 9:30.
Amazing, right?
It was a perfect show. People were thinking great.
We would walk by the Lamest Theater where they're just starting. And I was like, I'll get you a drink. What you need? I was just waving, and it was, mean spirit. Yeah. I was mean then, not anymore.
It's in your DNA.
It's my DNA. And then I did that Chicago thing, which is also amazing too. That's because Fosse and the whole thing, and this is just because we're here. It's like that I was like a fat kid, like 300 pounds in braces, and they call me Fat Albert and Rerun. And I will never forget the first time that I went on that stage as on the ensemble track and felt sexy. And did that that all of a sudden there was no fat kid. It was just me, and it was unbelievable to feel that thing, to shed all that whatever that mirror fat shaming thing that was just in my brain. So Chicago was everything.
Yeah.
What that you look back like I'm dying. You look back and you go like, oh, that was kind of cute. That was a cute run. She's good. I'm very blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
Yes.
Where did the nickname Mayor Broadway come from?
Oh, okay.
Because when I met you, you were only halfway through your career and you were already the mayor. So I was like, well, he did something to somebody early on.
Well, it was. I remember we were at Wilson's, which was on 79th Street. It used to be on 79th Street. And Debbie Wilson owned it, and we would go there after. And it goes, maybe we were there till the wee hours of the morning, dancing on top of the bars, and maybe Patti LuPone was topless. This is allegedly. So, my friend Nick Corley was there, and people were coming in, and I was like, I had his 30th birthday party, and Jerome Robbins came in because I knew Jerome Robbins, and he looked at me, he was like, you're killing me. You're the mayor of Broadway. And I swear to God, that was the moment it happened. It sounds random. I can't remember my 30th birthday party, but I remember that part. So Nick Corley, I was like literally the next day, everyone's calling me the mayor. I'm like, wow, y'all remember. Y'all drank a lot. You'll remember. That's good. Good for you. The mayor.
The mayor. Then it is stuck to this day. You are still the mayor.
I'm so.
You have some love coming from people out there who are watching.
Oh, man. Oh, so sweet. Oh, that's so sweet. Tom Adams in the house. So sweet.
Some applause from Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. That you know what the thing about this thing is? Not being able to hug my friends.
Mm.
I know it sounds almost Disney and cheap, but the thought of hugging Tom Adams, who's just a big, lovely guy who I love and known so long, and Owen and Aaron and all those people, that's what I do. My friends are so precious, and my family are so precious to me, and the hugging is gone. It takes something from myself.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that by yourself. Even my straight friends, my straight boyfriends, who are like, they used to give me that that hug from like 6 feet apart, like no crotch, no crotch. You know, that maybe they were ahead of the time, 6 feet apart, don't touch me. But I miss that.
Yeah.
I really miss it. And we'll do it again. Ardit. Oh, it's so sweet. Oh, hi. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is amazing.
The love is coming to you from the interwebs.
I'm taking it all, you guys. I'm taking all the love and wrapping it around me by myself. But we'll do it again. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
We were talking before about people saying maybe January, and I was like going, wow. January is gonna take a little buck up.
Yeah.
We have to figure out, because we just need to see each other and not on Zoom, because we lose that soul, that intimacy. Dustin Cross revealed the reveal. Well, we were supposed to do Amos Behaving together, and that was yes.
That show's done so rarely. It's a shame to see it not happen.
Right. Oh my God. And the Great Lakes Theater Festival, they were killing it in the Stan Myers, and I had this great creative team that finally, like, it was like, the artistic director said, well, whoever you want. I was like, say it again. Whoever you want. I'm like, I had my daughter Jackie Miller was on the team. I was like, I literally handpicked these people that were just amazing. And that's why, that's one of those things you go, oof. But there's a plan.
Yeah.
There's a definite plan.
It will return somehow, some way. We will figure out what it is.
And you know what I love about the theater community? When there's a problem, we stick together. When someone's in trouble, my friend Nick is in trouble, GoFundMe, just millions of dollars. I mean, that's what we do. When there's a problem, we get together. And it's daunting at sometimes because the love of it. Yeah. And the Actors Fund, and, you guys, if you have a penny, whatever you have, $5 or something, give some money to the Fountain Hill Playhouse. That would be delicious. Give whatever you can so that we can come back. The part that things might not come back because they can't get back on their feet, that's the part that's really disappointing. Yeah.
It's already happened to a few theaters in Phoenix. Just
I know.
I mean, we're when you're a small theater, we're kind of living show to show as it is.
Right.
And, we've canceled 5 shows already. It's just like.
And that, to me, it's like when you leave and there's no, you don't get the satisfaction of, like, saying, like, this is our final performance or whatever the deal is, and there's no closure on it. Yeah. That's I did this thing for these high school seniors. They were doing Once on This Island, and they didn't get to do it because they had to cancel the show. So, and my friend Anthony Daniel gave me, said, "Can you send them a message?" And I sent them a message about, what? There will be other shows. I know you're a senior, and I know that you love the show, but there'll be others. And the lesson we learn from it will make us better people, to understand it even better. Because, Lynn Aron's, that lyric is like, life is why. Like, all of the stuff, love is why, pain, grief, hope is why. It's so important at this time. Because we have to help each other. That's the only way we can do it. Because I'm in the middle of watching Pitch Perfect 2.
This is desperate times.
Sweetie, I didn't see Pitch Perfect. So I'm watching and go like, I don't have a clue what's going on. Oh my God, help me. I'm by myself, help me.
Dustin, thank you. Yeah, we're outside the box at Fountain Hills right now with our drive-in theater. Who knows what's going to happen? But we're going to hope you turn your radio on and you can hear us. I guess we'll see what happens. Shanna says Jerry saw your show.
so sweet. Thank you, guys.
Aaron sending you some love. Aaron's one of our young actresses here at Fountain Hills.
Love
Hey,
it.
Aaron. Well, I'm so glad you could come join me for a little bit and take a little walk down memory lane and break up your quarantine.
Thank you so much. And you guys, if you can, give some money. If you can't, then you know what, we'll see each other. We're gonna do theater again.
Most definitely.
It's gonna happen again. Listen, I might be headlining in drive-ins. My next thing. Who knows?
Right.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, take care of yourself.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you soon.
Good old Jerry. So good to have him here with us. I met him when I was, just in my early 20s, and I was working at this piano bar, and there he was. He came up on us, and our next guest here is also an old buddy of mine. She's in Lion King on Broadway. Here she is singing a little for
I
you.
can make it here, I can make it anywhere, that's what they say. See my face in lights and my name on marquees found down on Broadway. Even if it ain't all the scenes, I got a pocket full of dreams. Baby, I'm from New York. Concrete jungles where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do when you're in New York. These streets will make you feel brand new. Big lights will inspire you. Hear it for New York, New York, New York.
There she is, Miss Jackie. What's up? Here she is, live in person. What's up? Yeah, Jackie, I think you're one of the first people I met who was actually really from New York. She was born and bred in Hell's Kitchen in that old Manhattan Plaza.
Well, that's right. Actually, I was born in Coney Island Hospital in Brooklyn.
Oh my God. I never heard that part of the story. Okay.
I was, and I moved to Manhattan Plaza when I was about 2, I think. Yeah, and
Wow.
it's funny that I was born by the beach, and now I live by the beach where my kids were born. So it's so funny. It's so full circle. In Far
You're back
Rockaway.
in Far Rockaway. Was that Brooklyn? Or where is Far Rockaway? I don't even know where that is.
Queens, really far.
Oh, way out past the airport, right?
Yes, take the A train to the end, honey.
I was like, I feel like I saw it on the train, last stop.
Yeah, and it's funny. I didn't know being a New Yorker and kind of really growing up in Times Square area that there were 2 A trains. At some point, it splits, and there's Lefferts, and then there's towards the airport. So if you go to Lefferts, you're like, this is not where we're going. I didn't know that until I moved out here. Crazy.
I didn't know that either. Wow. Well, what kind of commute is that into Broadway on a daily basis?
Well, on a good day with absolutely no hiccups, it's an hour.
Wow.
But you want to give yourself, because if you have to be at the theater at half hour, you want to give yourself at least 2 hours, just in case. Yeah. Because then if you get to that hour, you have that little cush, you know.
Well, in New York, you always got to add an extra little bit of time to go anywhere, because
Right.
sometimes they just shut the train off and you just sit there and read a book. And that's all you could do. You can't get off. You can't call nobody.
No, and then you're like, instead of 1 train, it turned into 3 trains and a bus.
Right. Exactly. Yep, that's the truth. That is the truth.
It's so crazy to think about no one being on the train right now. And the other day they shut it down so they could clean it properly, and just wow. It's crazy that this is going on in our lifetime. How many things have gone on in our lifetime now?
Right.
Crazy.
Where were you when you found out that the show was going to stop? Did you realize what was happening before it happened, or how did they tell you?
Oddly enough, in hindsight, we had a few sick people. We were joking around with the boys being sick. Like some of the ensemble boys would kind of be gone for like 3 weeks at a time. And then we would joke around and say, oh, no hugs, elbow, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But who knows? I mean, they could have had corona for all we know. And so when we found out, we were still probably having a whole nother week of shows. There was one show in particular, I think it was a Wednesday matinee where we usually have the schools come in. It was quite daunting because it was probably, our house seats about 1,600. I want to say maybe there was about 300, 250 people in the audience.
Wow.
And that was a little scary. That's when it hit us like, okay, this is real. You know, we have an original cast member. Her name is Lidway Lamini. She's been there for 22 years. And she said the only time I've ever seen it like this was right after 9/11.
Right.
It was like, okay, are we all going to come back? So the next couple of days after that wasn't so bad, but we were quite scared. We're like, okay, we're coming down the aisle. You know, we're supposed to stay in character, but the moment we see someone cough, we're going to jump out of the aisle and, you know, the bird is going to be flying down someplace fast. You know, we were kind of on edge. So when we found out, and it's kind of crazy because I feel like at Lion King we work so hard between rehearsals and revamping stuff, tweaking things, taking things out, just to keep it fresh. So we always joke around like, oh man, can you imagine, this is way before the virus, can you imagine if like we all, you know, could take like a month off and come back so happy and energized? And we would always fantasize about this. So when we went home and we found out via text that basically the show was shut down for a while, we were just like, wait a minute. Okay, we were joking. Let's go back to just, you know, being normal. You know, and then we thought, okay, well, this is okay, you know, be a month, whatever. And then, you know, hearing the mayor talk about basically you guys are, Broadway is going to be the last ones to kind of come back. It's like, wow. Okay, so this is serious. You know, we're a little bit lucky in the way of working with Disney that we hope we're going to be okay. I don't know about other shows, but we just have to stay positive and think, okay, you know what? My kids never see me.
Right.
I'm literally, I'm at the theater more than I am at home. So this is a great opportunity where, you know, they can get to know me again. I get to know my kids. We've learned so many things about each other. And, you know, whereas before, one of my sons, Mason, he would say, Mommy, are you going to stay home today, please? Now he's like, Mommy, when are you going to work? Time's up. Yikes.
The times they are changing.
Okay. You know, but it's they're not used to having me around so much, you know, with them all day with homeschooling. I'm actually cooking every night and cleaning and let's go walk the dog. And, you know, it's a lot. And to have both parents on you now when they
Sure.
you know.
It was better when you was busy, Mom.
Yeah. When they loved me.
Right. One of the best parts about quarantine, though, one of the best parts about the quarantine, though, is that you get to have long hair.
This is true.
Because you got to keep short hair for all them headpieces you wear, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. There's no changing of the hair. Honestly, if you don't understudy a part with a set piece that is non-adjustable, then you can kind of fuss a little bit as long as your costumes fit. You know, it's a thin line. But with me, one of my roles is I'm swing. One of my roles is Nala, and with Nala, there's no give to her head. Once it's molded to your head, you basically have to wear your hair exactly the same every single time. So if I you know, grow a little bit and it doesn't fit right, then I jump on Simba and then my head flies off. That's not going to be good. It's happened before, not to me. But you know, things break, and you know, our microphones are in the head. So if that flies off, there's no, you know, the show must go on. It's just curtain closed. We got to fix it, you know. But yeah, it's definitely, I've been in the show I've been in Broadway company now for about 10 years, and it's definitely a challenge not wanting or not being allowed to change up, like we can't really wear different color nail polishes. Of course, all the ladies, the first thing they did was paint their nails red. And we all have hair, so it is allowing a little bit of freedom right now to just kind of be, I guess, a normal person and just let it all hang out. I mean, literally and figuratively. So, because, most of our costumes are corsets. They are tight corsets. So if you're going to, eat a little bit more for winter, you're going to feel it. So we're eating. We're all eating. I'm eating. I eat.
Enjoy it while you can.
That's right.
So for those people who are out there who don't know, tell us what a swing does, especially in Lion King. Like, what do you swing exactly?
So there's a couple of covers. There's an internal cover, which you are an ensemble member in the show every night, and then you might understudy a principal role. There's a standby, and standby's only job is to basically stand by unless they need to go on for a principal only. So they are actually on a principal contract. And then a swing, which is what I do, I swing about 8 roles. So I do all the female singers, not dancers, singers. And then I cover Sarabi, which is Simba's mother, Nala, Simba's girlfriend. And then I also cover Shenzi, which is fairly new for me, which is so awesome because I get to see my crazy New York self.
Right.
And it's funny because you don't know how hard things are, even being in the show, until you do it. And let me tell you, that Shenzi is no joke. You guys, when you come to The Lion King and you see the hyenas, I want you to feel the pain. I want you to feel it. She is a workout, but she is like, it's a great feeling because when you're done, you're like, man, that was hard, but I feel great. It literally is like you had a training session and you work out. So that's what a swing does. And basically I sit backstage and at any given moment, I can be thrown on for any of the roles that I cover. So
And it didn't happen? Have you gone on in the middle of a show before?
Absolutely. I'll be home or I'll be at the theater because I can't leave doing a workout or watching, I don't know, Game of Thrones or something like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're on for so-and-so. I get the bat call. We call it the bat phone. They call us from the bat phone. And they say, Jackie, can you go on for so-and-so? Sometimes I'll be on as an ensemble member. One time there was, we had a Nala. She was on Broadway for just a few months, just subbing in a little bit. And her leg seized up. So she had to go to PT. We have an on-call PT, just like all the stuff that we do on stage. And so I was an ensemble member getting ready to go on for a part. And one of the stage managers, he's so deadpan. He's like, yeah, I'm going to need you to put your Nala costume on. I'm like, you're so funny. Anyway, I'm serious. Okay, all right. So I rip off all my clothes. I run to the dressing room, and I see Nala. She's trying to figure out what she wants to do because now in PT, her leg seized up even more. It's worse. So I was like, okay, dressed in. I have 3 people on me, putting on costumes and makeup and all this stuff. And then I go, and so I'm like, girl, what are you going to do? He's like, I got to go on. I'll figure it out. I have friends out there. So I said, okay, I'm just going to follow you. So I follow her. She goes on stage limping. I don't think she realized how bad it was. She goes on limping. Then her next scene, she runs, limps off. And I said, what are you going to do? Girl, the only thing you're doing now is running. She's like, but my friends. I said, well, how close are they? Because they're not going to see none of the girls you tripping around. And she's like, that's true. Just go. So literally she comes off and I go on. And then Pumbaa and Timon are like, they wanted to say something so bad. They wanted to say, no, did you grow? But honestly, I don't think the audience, figured it out at all because we're pretty similar in type. But I love that. Some people, I don't think being a swing is for everybody because some people want to know exactly what they're doing that night. I'm kind of a little bit of both. I don't like to be thrown on with things I haven't practiced, but once I know it, you can do whatever, One time I went on for Nala, and there's this part in Shadowland where she's so tired from fighting this windstorm, trying to find out where she's going to find the next meal or help. And Rafiki comes in right at her lowest and blesses her and gives her the strength to carry on. Well, at the time, our Rafiki was pregnant, and she would get a lot of nosebleeds. So right before she had to come on stage, she got an unexpected nosebleed, and she didn't know what to do. She was just like, oh, I heard her on the mic. Oh. So then I had no Rafiki. So then I was like, I'm going to come down and pray. There's no Rafiki. I didn't want to, do this, but I was just like, I'll pray to the gods around me. I love that. We just mix stuff up and just see where it goes, Yeah. On tour, one of the girls' mic broke, and when the mic is broken, it's like, that's it. So they don't do this on Broadway so much, but on tour, the stage manager literally had to come on with a handheld mic, walk on and give it to her. And she sang the end of Shadowland with the mic. It was fabulous. I love stuff like that.
Oh my God. My favorite middle of the show story is from that show, Joseph, that we did. When our good friend Joseph got his face ripped off.
Poor Autumn.
Shout out to Adam Michaels. There's a part where they throw Joseph in the pit and they pull him back up out of the pit. Well, the backdrop had come in too far. So when we pulled him up out of the pit, it was wooden and thick and scary. It's a big piece, and we had no idea that it was low. You could
wood and metal fine clouds.
Yeah, we pulled his face right into that, and boom, back down he went. And I was the swing, and I was just happened to be on for somebody that day, and I was like, thank God, I'm a director, so I was like, okay, he ain't coming back. You're on. And I go to the guy, Steve, who was the understudy, and I was like, you're going on. We were making our quick change into When We're Angel in Heaven, and I was like, do not change. You need to go backstage. And he's like, it'll be fine. I was like, no. I saw blood everywhere. He is not coming back on. And literally, we started to walk out, and I pushed him with all my might. I was like, stay off stage. And they said 2 seconds later, they grabbed him, changed his costume, out he went, and it's like the role of Joseph's now being played by a blonde because he don't have time to put no wig on.
I don't know if you remember, but we were across the street from a hospital. Thank God.
Oh, were we? No, I don't remember that.
He went. Adam went away, and then I went to check on him, and he's such a good sport. It's so funny. He always wants to make a joke thing. So he answers the door, and I'm like, okay, be prepared. So he opens the door, eating pizza. Meanwhile, stitches
everywhere,
still bleeding. I'm like, how are you joking around right now?
Well, I just saw your face on the floor about 2 hours ago.
Oh man,
crazy. But yeah, we had to keep going. The show was like, a lot of it was on a click track, and we had to just keep going. And I'm sure the orchestra probably had no idea that he was out. But that was right when they sell Joseph to the Ishmaelites, which I was an Ishmaelite, and it was a rope. It was a rope with no one attached to it. We sold a rope to the Ishmaelites, and off they went with their rope. And then on the next cross, here he came, tied up. I'm Joseph.
Oh my goodness.
Insane, but that happens more than people realize, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the audience secretly likes to see that kind of stuff. I know I do.
Yeah, it's like it's a live show.
On one hand, you want to see how it's meant to be because chances are you're only going to be able to see it once.
Yeah.
But when things happen and the curtain closes and maybe you don't know why the curtain closed, you're like, what's going on? What's going on? Like one day, our elevator, we don't have much on the stage because the people, we're dressed as animals and, we are the set pieces. So you basically have the rock and a big elevator that just gives us levels. Well, one day the elevator completely got stuck. And if the elevator gets stuck, the rake gets stuck, everything gets stuck. So literally they shut it down, they shut the curtain, and they built a whole new floor. It took about 45 minutes. But the fact that they had a floor already painted, waiting in the wings, never knew what they were going to use it for. Those guys, it was just unbelievable what they could fix in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And to the bar, they made a lot of money that day.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Well, do you have any feeling about when the show is going to go back? I mean, do you hear anything from them, or it's just kind of like you're on hold and we don't know?
You know what? Honestly, they can say a date all they want, but we won't know. And if the mayor says we are the last ones to get back to normal, you have to think about it too. It's like, people who are not working, they are struggling to pay their mortgage. Why in the hell would they buy a ticket to a show?
Absolutely.
So if we opened up tomorrow, everybody opened up tomorrow, it's like, okay, we got to get our lives back on track. So I think once we start opening up, when the stuff starts slowing down and people get back to normal, only then we'll be able to come back. I'm sure when we get back, because it'll be a while, we'll have to re-rehearse and, get our bodies back in shape to it, because Lion King is definitely not a show that you can just be gone for 3 months and hit it.
Right.
We work on a steel stage. So that's very hard on the body. It's very hard on the dancers. I give them so much props because they're not just doing technical things with their bodies. They're doing technical things with these weighted puppets on their heads and their hands at the same time. Scar Mufasa, they walk around with a 25-pound battery pack on their back. So it's not something you can just get back to, and we call each other, we video each other, and we miss each other dearly. We miss fighting in the dressing room. We miss debating and laughing and dancing and all that. But I think we're looking at this as, we're going to come back stronger. Our voices are going to be fierce. Our bodies, although right now, we're going to be snatched because we're going to be like, okay, 4 weeks, let's hit it, and we're going to feel great, and I think hopefully that's the good that will come out of it. I hope the whole world, and it's crazy that the whole world is going through this at the same time, right?
Right.
I just hope that we all learn something from this. I pray that that's the reason why we go through this. There's a reason for everything, right? Yeah. And stuff like this happens. It's going to happen. It's happening now. It's going to happen again. It's just the way it is. But I just hope that we, turn out to do something good with all this. Maybe we'll love each other more from afar.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't understand, forget the elbow pump. Why don't we just bow like the Japanese?
Right.
Not each other, man. Italians kissing on each other. Forget that. Let's just all bow. First of all, Asia got it right in the first place, wearing the mask.
We've been making fun of them for years.
You know what I'm saying? Like when this stuff all started and I was still running the train packed with people, I was like, you know what? I should really start wearing a mask. And for some reason, I didn't do it. I don't know why. I should, that might be the new norm for years to come until it relaxes again. You think about the Spanish flu. I mean, we're nothing like the Spanish flu. We can't really compare, but this is crazy, Michael.
It is crazy. You were right. Well, Aaron, sending some love to you. Yeah, I think we're certainly going to appreciate just being able to be with our friends, being able to perform again and just share your story with the audience. All that stuff's going to feel brand new to us, which is good. I think we need an attitude adjustment sometimes in life. And
yes, and I think your drive-in idea is fabulous. I've never been to a regular drive-in.
Oh, you haven't?
Never, and I've always felt like wish I could go back to the 50s, and we went to Sonic the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are on roller skates, and, they're gonna bring us some food,
Right.
Taking it back. It's so cool. And I give it up to rest in peace, Little Richard today. It's like crazy because I have a story about Little Richard. So I'm visiting LA. I don't know if I moved there yet. So I was walking around with our girl Christina, and I'm like, girl, let's get some pizza. I don't know why I want pizza in LA, but let's just go get it. So we're in Hollywood, walking around, and this limo slowly drives by. The window rolls down, and he's like, Little Richard, hey girl, hey, how you doing? I was like, hi, Little Richard. He's like, girl, you don't call me back? You gonna call me? We're gonna hang out later? Okay.
That's such an LA story, though, isn't it?
Because I certainly never have met him in my life before. I thought that was hilarious. He's like, honey, call me back later so we can hang out. I was like, okay, where did I'm at?
I love it.
Oh man.
Oh, good old little Richard. Rest in peace. Oh, well, I'm happy you could join me here for a little fun this afternoon. It's good to see you.
You too.
And hopefully we'll be back in the theater business sooner than later, but who knows? Until then, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And
if not, we got to keep it going. We have to keep these small businesses alive. Everybody, if you can just give as much as you can. I know everybody's struggling, some more than others, and some are, luckily not even affected by this, which is awesome. But if you can, just give a shout out, a little donation to the Fountain Hills Theater, because every little bit counts.
Yeah.
From teeny tiny theaters to the big theaters. Like my first show that I ever did, straight out of school, and I went to Catholic U for 1 year, and then I decided to come back to New York and went to AMDA, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Right.
And I think the day or two after I graduated, I went to this theater called Theater 3, which my high school used to take us to in Long Island. It's very, very small, kind of barn-like theater, and they were doing the Wiz. And so I was like, I'm just going to go, audition for Glenda or something. And then I got Dorothy, and I was like, oh my goodness, my first paid gig, and I'm Dorothy. And so it was so awesome because my school, who used to go see shows there, could now come and see me in a show.
Yeah.
And my master and my drama teacher, bless her heart, she used to get me on my New York accent. I say go off and acts and, like. And so the first thing she said to me after the show, she says, oh my goodness, I understood you. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment.
You didn't sound like some crazy New Yorker for once.
So, if it weren't for these little theaters that, because even though it's Long Island can still be 3 hours away. And sometimes
Right.
people don't have time to come out and see a Broadway show or have the money. So, they have their, $20 tickets, $25 tickets that they can go and bring their whole family and see a little show like The Wiz and see somebody's career take off before they actually get to where they're going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Theater 3, seeing shows there and being in the show, I don't know, it really like got the fire under me to keep, wanting to do it,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here and trying to support the theater with us. We really appreciate it. And take care of yourself and say hi to those kids and your husband for me.
All righty.
All righty. We'll see you soon virtually.
Bye.
That's all right, Miss Jackie O. Good to have her here with us. She and I did Joseph on the road, 20-something years ago, probably when she was just a baby. I see you, Jackie. She's back there saying, don't tell how old we are. We were 10 years old. We were children in the children's chorus, and now we are 23. That's it. Well, up next, I've got another old buddy of mine coming to us actually from Chicago. He's gotten out of New York. He was a performer for a long time, and I started being producer and director, and now he's kind of moved on to a new part of his life in Chicago and is back to performing. Lucky us. So let's say hello to our good friend, Jay Montgomery. Hey, you're muted, Jay. Don't mute yourself. Finally, I've shut Jay up.
It's just force of habit. Muting myself is second nature now, Michael. I've been married 15 years, my friend.
Wow. That poor woman. That poor woman. We're praying for you.
I think she can hear us.
Oh, run, Tamara, run. He's on TV for the next 15 minutes.
Yes.
This is your chance.
So listen, I was listening to you talk to Jerry, the mayor,
Yeah.
of Broadway, and I thought to myself, that would make me the custodian of Broadway. Listen, I don't know when I met Jerry. I've known him so long, I can't even remember how, when, or how, or why. Yeah. But my first week in New York, it was in the summer of 1990. and I was, 20 something, very early 20s or mid 20s. And I just moved to New York because I didn't even think about being an actor until I was 24. I mean, when it comes from the idea of like going to school to learn how to be an actor, I couldn't be more from the wrong side of the tracks on the southwest side of Atlanta. So it couldn't be. But my first week in New York, I went to go see three things 3 nights in a row. I went to go see Closer Than Ever, the original company of that at the Minetta Lane. And then I went to go see the Steppenwolf production of Grapes of Wrath, which starred Gary Sinise. And the third night, I went to see Jerry in Once on This Island. And it was fantastic. And it was the culmination of a great week because there were 3 productions that couldn't have been more different, but they were each more brilliant than the one before. And Once on This Island has always, any of the music just gives me goosebumps. And years later, I got to be friends with Jerry, and we used to talk about it all the time. I was kind of always picking his brain, going, "Hey, tell me about this." I'm such a fan. So anyway, it was great to hear Jerry talk, and he really is the mayor.
Absolutely. I met him when he was young. I mean, we were all young, and I was like, "How could you be the mayor of Broadway? Who is this guy?" And it's just like it's just because he's lovable. Everybody likes him, and he's been in shows with all these famous people, and so you're like, "Oh, I mean, there's Patti LuPone." I mean, she would turn up sometimes. You're like, he did a show. I forgot, should have said something different about this. He did like the first time he ever did a cabaret show, and he did it at some of those little theaters on 42nd Street, maybe like the Houseman. Remember the John Houseman?
Yeah.
450 seats or something. And it was literally every Broadway star you'd ever seen in the audience. And I'm like, I was sitting next to Lillias White, and I was just like, I'm Jerry's friend. She's like, oh, she would replaced in once. I think, yeah, she replaced Mama, whatever it is. Mama Will Provide, whoever that character is. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting next to this famous lady. And I was like, there's all these famous people. And I was like, of course, the mayor has his crowd.
True. When Jerry is, around, the fun ensues. There's just no way around it. Everybody knows it. It's a gift. It's a magic he has. I mean, it's fantastic.
How did you get to New York and kind of start your career? Where did you come from?
I'm from Atlanta, as I said, and I, went to Big State University, the University of Georgia, and majored in English. With sort of an eye on going to law school. I know, crazy. And I'd been a singer. I'd sung all my life, but very musical family. But I didn't, and I'd done plays in high school, but we didn't have a venue in high school to do musicals. Our gym didn't have a stage, and so I never really put it together. And I went to college and just kind of went to college. And now everywhere you go, there are musical theater programs. I mean, they're all over the place now. Virtually every big state school has them, and many, many others. All the private schools do. But at the time, there were less than 5. And so it never occurred to me to study the arts. And so my last semester in graduate school, because I went to graduate school for English also, so that would make me almost 24, a friend of mine who was also in graduate school in the directing department, because there was a theater department at the University of Georgia, of course, and a music department. But they never cross-homogenated into a musical theater department, which is what's changed so nicely now,
Yes.
But she was doing Joseph. You guys remember all afternoon. And she said, listen, I need singers. Will you come out? And I said, well, okay. And she cast me, and she completely reconceived from anything that, you and Jackie and Jerry would know. But she cast me as the narrator. And so it became very much a kind of Pippin and leading player thing. And I had so much fun. And my eyes lit up, and I thought, holy cow. All right. So then I went to Atlanta, and I was an actor for 6 or 8 months and kind of did everything there was to do in Atlanta. I got the national tour of a big AIDS benefit show called Heartstrings.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Much thrilling experience. And at the end of that, I thought, wow, I'm 25. I got to go. I can't wait around anymore, And so I did. So I just didn't know stage left from stage right. I just got on a plane and moved to New York because I thought I've got to get busy. And that was the summer of 1990.
Wow.
How about that? I ain't know nobody. Nobody. Me. But I just dug in and started auditioning and throwing my my resume and my hat in anywhere I could, whether I was right for anything or not, just to get the experience, because I was also coming at it from a really, really inexperienced place, So and it paid off because I learned so much. Every time I turned around, it seemed like it was the kind of lesson that would make me cringe at the moment, but it was something I could take and use.
Yeah.
really grateful for it. As painful as it might have been at the time, it ultimately was a really paid off, and I met a lot of great people. And somewhere in that time, I met our boy Jerry.
Yeah. What was your first big break once you got to New York?
My first big show was I played Anthony in a production of Sweeney Todd at Paper Mill.
Oh, I saw that.
With George Hearn.
Yeah.
Judy Kay, and it was spectacular. I mean, Nick Wyman, the former president of Equity, was Judge Turpin. It was just the Paper Mill was just bigger. For people who don't know Paper Mill,
None of those people ended up coming to do the revival. There was a revival later.
Yes.
Circle in the Square or something, yeah.
Yes, Circle in the Square. Actually, the Circle in the Square revival just predated us. That was Bob Gunton and Dorothy Loudon, I think. I can't remember.
But wasn't there a revival with George Hearn and?
No, that was right. That was also again right before this.
Yeah. I guess I saw it at Paper Mill and I thought it was on Broadway. I was in Jersey. Who knew?
It was a spectacular production. For those of you that don't know, Paper Mill is this big theater in New Jersey, and they have tons of resources and money. They can throw tons of money at things. They do huge shows, and for instance, in the last few years, was it Honeymoon in Vegas and A Bronx Tale and Newsies, among other shows, tried out in Paper Mill and then moved across the river, the Hudson, Manhattan. So it was a great experience. But if you're familiar with, there's a very famous recording of Sweeney Todd with George Hearn and Angela Lansbury from 1982.
That's PBS.
Yes, the PBS. It was the end of actually it was HBO. It was one of HBO's first things, and it was the end of 1982 because it opened on Broadway in '79. And when we were doing it, it was in '92. And if you're familiar with that, you know how sort of great those guys were. But George, if you can believe it, actually sang the role even more aggressively 10 years later than he did on that, kind of legendary thing with Angela Lansbury. And I remember one day after a matinee where he just destroyed the place. I said, "How do you do that, man?" And he goes, because I was a kid, I was 27 or 28. And he goes, "Hey kid, this is the first time I've ever done this sober." He was fantastic. And he became, our pal and a mentor, so we stay in touch through the years. But man, I thought, you did this show? You played Sweeney Todd drinking? I just can't imagine. That is beyond any realm of reality I'm familiar with. And I just don't get it all. So that was my first big gig. And literally right after that, I got Falsettos on Broadway. Literally, like 2 weeks after the Sweeney Todd closed. And that was, a brilliant experience for a million reasons. But it's funny, as Jackie was talking about her understudy or her swing experience, I was the standby for the leading guys in the Broadway company. And the original company of Falsettos had been open 6 months, 7 months, whatever it was. And so Michael Rupert had left and Barbara Walsh was leaving when I went in. So when I went into the show, the guy playing Marvin was Mandy Patinkin. And as Barbara left, the woman that took her place was Randy Graff. So Chief Zion, who was always there, was still there.
Right.
So as the curtain went up on the first act of Falsettos, it's Savan Kotel, the kid playing Jason, who was fantastic. He was only 11, but so he was too young to get nervous. Mandy, Randy, Chip, and me. Wow. So as Jackie was saying, once you get a chance to really get it in your body, the pressure kind of eases. But man, wow. So my first 97 times on Broadway stage were playing Mandy Patinkin's boyfriend.
Right. I know, like you do.
There, singing all those great songs with him. I mean, I just, come on, it's crazy. But it was a thrilling experience. I ended up doing the show for a year and a half. I did the tour, and then the LA company, I went back to being the standby there because it was the original company. It was Michael Rupert, Steve Bogardus, and they were fantastic. It was a brilliant, brilliant show. But it did kind of open my eyes in a lot of ways, though. I mean, because I realized pretty quickly that it really kind of changed my career because I realized that probably understudying or being a standby for the leading guy was going to be something that was going to come my way a lot. Actually, while I was there, I got an offer to do exactly that in the LA company of Sunset Boulevard. And what was happening was they were closing down the LA company of Sunset Boulevard, or rather recasting it because Glenn Close and Alan Campbell and all those guys were moving to New York to open the Broadway company. This was 1990.
Right.
And so they were rehearsing and recasting the show with Faye Dunaway.
Oh, I've heard this story before.
And eventually they got all the way down to the bitter end, and finally Faye walked in one day and went, I can't sing this. What am I doing here? And so rather than try to find yet another sort of star of the appropriate size and age and whatever, they just closed it down, Yikes.
Did you actually join that company or no?
No, I never actually officially did. None of us did that were cast in LA to replace. So
They shut down.
but
Yeah,
it
we
kind
had James May, who was the conductor of that show, was on a few weeks ago, and he told the very same story. He's like, and then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, we're shut down. Like, we're closing.
it was their dress rehearsal for the coronavirus.
It's like, I was like, I can't believe they let it get that far. You don't just learn to sing like
No,
Sunset
Well,
Boulevard.
you know what's funny? I think it's a Lloyd Webber thing because Roger Moore, the late great Roger Moore, who played James Bond and whatever in The Saints, went through the same sort of thing with Aspects of Love in London. He wrote that older role for Roger Moore, and Roger finally said, "I can't sing this." So they had to. Okay, but anyway, it opened my eyes a little bit because I thought I really don't want to be an understudy. I mean, I don't want to stand by, spend so much time backstage. I think being a swing may be the best way to do a big show like Jackie doing The Lion King, right? Because she's got a lot to do, and every day is kind of different, and it probably, after a couple of years, keeps it really fresh. But when you're standing by sort of for the lead person, and there's always that pressure of, I don't know, I just didn't really want to do that. That didn't sound like fun to me, and I got into this to have fun. So I actually
You got offered a lot of swing jobs, from what I remember, right?
a lot of stuff came my way, and and looking back on it now, it's probably dopey that I did that I would say no to some things because, I mean, I can't imagine anything I'd rather do now than be sitting in the ensemble or understudying.
We have a different perspective now.
I have a mortgage and an 11-year-old daughter. I mean, it's a whole different world now. But at the time, I was just in it for the fun. So I kind of decided that unless it was a real opportunity to move into the right role, then I probably wasn't going to do it. So some things kind of came my way, and I kind of went a different direction. But it allowed me the opportunity to go a million places and do a million cool, fun roles and things. I mean, anyway, so there was the real life on the road, the actor's life on the road for me for a long time. And it wasn't like the big tour like you guys did. It was like 8 weeks here or 2 weeks there or whatever, But it was, I was young and, I don't know, full of energy and
Totally.
up for it at the time,
Which is where we met in Connecticut.
Yes.
Doing Phantom with the lovely Kelly O'Hara, who was on here a few weeks ago.
Lovely
She
Kelly.
was a baby, just right out of school, and
She
she was like phenomenal. We were all like, "Who is this girl?"
It was so good, and that was pretty good. Against all odds, was pretty good. Don't you think? I mean, looking back on it now, for people who know the Monty Western Phantom, it's got some beautiful, beautiful stuff in it.
Oh my gosh, beautiful music! Yeah,
yeah, and it's also got a really, in some ways, the storytelling is even better because you find out so much more about, the Phantom and his
his father and all that. Yeah.
He's there and why he may be so sort of obsessed with or instantly attached to Christine, so that's really interesting. But boy, it was fun. We had a great time. I have a couple of really odd memories of Phantom though.
You do?
Yeah, I think it was. I was just thinking about this today. I think it was maybe the illest fitting costume I'd ever worn. I think it was like kind of pulled for somebody else. And then it
was a rental. I remember they rented the whole show from like San Jose Civic Light Opera or something, and it was just like you had to fit the costume.
Exactly, that was it. And so it didn't really fit. The pants were too short. So in this is like the late 90s. I'm wearing like my these tux pants, these really nice black slacks, like down on my hips, like
right,
like I'm the Brooklyn hipster playing the Phantom. And then and also the jacket was really small, so it was kind of like this. So I was. Whenever I had on the tails, the tailcoat, that's where I was kind of moving around. So later on in the show, when I got to take that off and wear kind of the flowing stuff, I was like, oh, thank God. But I was literally always thinking my pants are going to fall down.
Oh my God. Now that I think about it, your costume did look a little strange.
And it was, and we're serving up that high drama because even though it's not the Lord Webber Phantom, it's still Phantom, so it's high drama. And I was thinking, wow, these pants could just fall right off. I never thought about losing the mask. I thought about losing my pants.
Oh my gosh, that one has the full mask too, right? Not the partial.
Yeah, it's not the half mask.
Casting of it, yeah.
I still have that somewhere. I should dig it out and send you a picture.
Yeah.
No, I still have it. Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, and that was Adam Kaplan, who's now a big Broadway star.
I know.
Remember the little 9-year-old baby band?
Guy, sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah.
And most famous in our production for putting something metal in the microwave. Do you remember this?
No.
Yeah, it was on a Saturday between shows, and he had to call the fire department and all that.
Oh my God.
Sweetheart of a kid, though. I mean, he was devastated. He had no idea, of course. He was 9, for God's sake. He was a sweet guy, though.
Yeah, he was a sweet kid, and now he's a big Broadway star. We're very, very proud of you, Adam. And Kelly O'Hara, she's all right, too.
And she's doing fine, I mean, dragging her dead weight around. It was just.
Yeah, she's kind of a has-been with her 6 Tony nominations. Yeah.
Lovely. I was going to tell you that it's funny, I was listening to Phantom recently, again, the recording, because someone had called me about doing it. And I thought, I haven't sung that in forever. And so I listened to it and I was singing along, I was listening to that, and I thought, wow, this is really hard.
It's really high.
It's high.
Yeah.
I think it's funny, I kind of fell into this flock a little bit because I'm really a baritone, but I spent so much of my career pushing the top of my voice. Everything was so high, and a lot of roles they like a baritone kind of feel for it.
Right.
But it's
Richard White played it originally, which is he's the ultimate brr with the screaming high notes somehow. Yeah.
So they make it really high, so it's but they want that sound, but it's really high for that sound, and but that was something that I could do. When Les Mis came my way, it was to play Enjolras, which is the same thing.
Yeah, screaming.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's like a really baritone sound.
Yeah.
You can go, when we call, and then sing the top. And so, yeah. So anyway, I at one point after doing this for a lot of years, I mean, I think the show I've done the most in my career is to play Che and Evita. I know I don't look like a Che now, but if you put a beard and a beret on me, I look just like everybody else. And that's just so high. And I thought, what? So anyway, I was auditioning one time. I remember when it happened, it was clear as day. It was for a couple of shows back to back at Florida Rep, which is in Fort Myers, Florida. For all of you baseball fans in Arizona, that's where the Red Sox are. It's spring training. And so it was a really great place to go in January, February, and March when you live in New York City. And they were doing Company, and they were following it up with this Sinatra show. And so I'm going in to sing for Company because I'd already done a couple of productions of Company and knew it like the back of my hand. I played a couple different roles. And so I was going in for Bobby, and I'm singing this stuff. And so I sing Someone Is Waiting, and then I sing Being Alive, big, loud, high stuff. And I get finished, and there's a number of people behind the table, including the director of the Sinatra show, who's the great Pam Hunt. If you ever cross paths with Pam, she's fantastic. Anyway, and she said to me, well, listen, that's great. Do you have anything lower?
Finally. Yes, I do.
It's a fact of the matter, but you know what doesn't matter? As it turns out, no, I didn't.
No, I know. I only have screaming tenor songs.
I was coming in for Company. I didn't know anything. So anyway, I went out in the hall and found somebody with a songbook of standards. And I think I came back in and sang like The Very Thought of You or something, which is not even a song that's associated with Sinatra. It's like Nat King Cole's thing. And so I came in and I sang that. It was not high, but it wasn't low. It's just kind of a French thing. And they hired me. And so when I went to Florida, I spent 2 months doing Company. And the next day I walked in singing an octave lower.
Perfect.
To do the Sinatra stuff. Now, oh my God. Now I know how people can relax and have fun doing shows because it was just, I didn't have to be at 95% to be any good. I needed to do it like I wanted to do it, And so it took a lot of pressure off, and suddenly I was singing different kind of roles, and that led me into a sort of more legit place where I ended up doing a lot of bigger or more kind of traditionally baritone things like Kiss Me Kate, like a little night music. And so I just finished doing The Secret Garden, which is of course really high, but it sounds higher than it is. If you listen to the recording, you listen to Mandy sing, and you think, good Lord, man, that dude is singing, everything's a high C. No, it's not. it sounds so high in Mandy's voice that kind of, yeah. When I was working with Mandy, by the way, I played Che already, and I'd listened to Secret Garden 10,000 times, and I knew his voice a lot, and somehow it got out that I did a Mandy impersonation. And so Mandy would be backstage, and he'd go, "Hey, can't sing that thing from High Flying Adore." Yeah. And I go, "High Flying Adore," and I do Mandy for Mandy.
Perfect.
And he was a great sport about it, man. And I was just like, oh God. Because one of the great things about Mandy as an actor is and a human being, he really is an actor. I'm just kidding. He's a lovely guy. But is that you don't know on stage with him if he's gonna hug you or kill you. You just don't know what's gonna happen. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this, and they're gonna find my body over here in a clump in the back of the theater. Anyway, it was thrilling stuff. Thrilling stuff. And then
you've gone on to do that Frank Sinatra show like a zillion times now, right?
I have done it many, many times. I've directed it, and I love it. I mean, what's not to love? I mean, I never had any connection with sort of the American songbook, So that's opened up a lot of doors for me, and I can't tell how much fun it's been, Especially when I was even younger. When I was the first time I did, I was probably 35, 36, and a lot of the audience was much older because they're going to see Sinatra show, and to watch the older guys in the audience. And I'm saying guys, but I mean everybody. But watch the older guys in the audience kind of, you hear the first things, the first part of Summer Wind, and every guy puts his arm around somebody. To see them, they loved how much we and I put myself in, loved their stuff. We loved what they loved, and it was so great to watch. And it's literally been like that every time I've ever done it. I mean, we did it at our theater in 2010, another kind of career. My wife and I started, we had our daughter in 2008. And so we thought, I'm not going to travel so much. My wife's an actress too. And so we started a theater company on Staten Island where we moved to just off the ferry. And it was thrilling. We did it 8 years or something like that. And we were really happy with the way it worked and what we were able to put on stage, because we just called a lot of friends, a lot of people we knew around. We had the benefit of being close to New York, off the ferry right away. And so we were able to do a lot of really cool stuff. But ultimately we stopped producing because we gauged the need. There had never been professional theater on Staten Island, which is amazing. It was a borough of New York City, but there had never been professional theater there. And so there was a need there for that, but there was not really a want there for that. There's not a culture of supporting the arts. There's not a culture of really appreciating the arts in any meaningful way, which is really a surprise to us. So eventually we sort of decided we would do something else, and we moved to Chicago to be close to family, and we're ready for something different. And we love being here. But it's funny, we were talking about your theater, and I also want to encourage everybody listening, and if you know anyone that does this sort of thing, to support Fountain Hills and support the arts. As a producer, probably the toughest thing to do as a producer is to make a decision regarding the show you're producing, the play you're producing, the story you're trying to tell, based on what may or may not be in the budget versus basing it on what's clearly best for the production, best for what you want to do. And so we never got the support that we needed. And eventually we built a really great audience, but you just can't do it by ticket sales. And then of course we're thrown the curve of the coronavirus, this crazy pandemic situation, which has crippled the arts everywhere. And what comes to mind is, it seems like every day I go on social media and I see a meme about saying something in support of the arts, saying in effect, remember what you've been doing to get yourself through this quarantine. You've been watching your favorite TV shows. You've been watching old movies and favorite movies. You've been listening to great cast recordings. You've been watching live shows and your friends singing concerts and all that sort of stuff. The arts matter. The arts are how we're going to rebuild when this is all over, and we have to support it. So I'm going to encourage everybody to do what you can. We all know how tight and crazy things are. But after 9/11, Doc Rivers, who's the coach of the Boston Celtics, said something interesting, and it stuck with me, and it's true now too. After 9/11, there was a lot of focus on starting sports back, and of course starting the live theater back and the opera and the ballet and everything else. And what Doc said was, when you're coming out of a crisis situation, to bring people together, you need a big tent. And sports and the arts are big tents. We don't need to worry about the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks and the Cubs. They're going to be fine. But the arts, the theater out there, the theater that we all love and appreciate so much, it's a soundtrack to so much of what we do. We laugh in our house that sort of everything we say is a song cue. Almost anything we say could, that reminds me of.
Right.
It's important. So I would ask everybody to dig deep and to really feel an appreciation for what the theater has meant to you in your life. And I know it has meant so much. Here, they wouldn't be with us today, and they wouldn't be, watching it tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah. Well, it's been great to have you here with us. It's been fun to talk about your career with you. I learn something more every day.
Uh-oh.
That's why I have these shows. Learn more and more about my friends.
One of these days we're all going to This Is Your Life, You.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Michael, and
no one will tune in for that one. I have very interesting friends. Me, same dude.
Oh.
Not much has changed. Will you sing for us before you go?
I would love to sing something.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I was, with being quarantined, I thought to myself, I got to learn some new music. I want to read some plays I haven't seen. I want to be productive in this time. No. The song I was really working on, I thought, okay, this is the song I'm going to learn. And then when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I thought, okay, I'm going to learn it in time to sing it. I'm like, no, I failed miserably. The song I was trying to learn was Johnny Cash's "I've Been Everywhere, Man," because it just sounds like me. All those 10 million cities and towns, most of which you and I have probably both been to. I do feel like I've been everywhere. But so that failed miserably. So what I'm going to sing is a Sinatra tune.
Nice.
But listen, I know it's only, what time is it? 4:20 out there, but it's well into cocktail hour here.
I'm sure, yes.
And so Michael, this is for you and your people, man. All right, here we go.
A little music to end the show with today.
Here we go. It's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. Now I got a little story I think you should know. Yeah, drinking, my friend, to the end of a brief episode. So make it one for my baby and another one for the road. I got the routine, so put another nickel in the machine. I'm feeling so bad. Won't you make the music easy and sad? Now I could tell you a lot, but it's not a gentleman's code. So make it one for my baby, one more for the road. You never know it, but buddy, I'm a kind of poet, and I got a lot of things I'd like to say. And if I'm feeling gloomy, you just gotta listen to me until it's talked away. Well, that's how it goes. Joe, I know you're getting anxious to close. Anyway, thanks for the cheer. I hope you didn't mind my bending your ear. But this torch that I found, it's gotta be drowned, or it's gonna explode. So make it one for my baby, and another one for the road. Long, long, so long, damn long.
Trying to make me cry or what? Jeez, I need something to drink. Hey, look who's backstage, Jackie. Wasn't that great? We got some music today. Yay!
Oh, hold on a second.
And now for my next number.
Now for my next number. I didn't program this. I have an 11-year-old who's not to be trusted. You have this coming, Jackie. When your boys get to be 11, 12, forget it.
You know, you can try to, you know, I'm forcing them to be actors during this quarantine, and so I'm like, no, you say the line this way. You have to do this when you're older.
Hey, do they like theater? Your boys? Do they like it?
Not yet.
Do they get how cool your job is?
They love going to the theater. They love hanging out. They'd rather stay there than home. And, you know, during the show, they get to stay sometimes and hang out backstage. But they don't necessarily like sitting and watching in a dark place. They'd rather get up and do.
Yeah. My daughter Emerson was literally raised in a professional theater company, right? I mean, she was around really creative people had a lot of going on. We did some shows with kids. We did The King and I. We did Music Man. We did Oliver. We did I'm All on the Night Visitors. Lots of kids, interesting older kids, and she's a little bitty. And now she's like, she's a complete critic, and she's not kind of like we were doing Rent. And it was this great production of Rent. The walls are still shaking. It was fantastic. And I said, hey, you want to go watch the show with me tonight? She goes, she was in this green room with her little drawing pad going, no, I'm good. She's like 9. And I'm like, But she likes to draw. That's the thing. That's her thing. She likes to draw. She can sing and dance like mom and dad, but she likes to draw. So she's way too cool for it at the moment. However, I have not taken her to see The Lion King yet. And if she has a reaction that my wife and I did to the first 10 minutes of The Lion King, she's going to be a wreck, and like, you know, maybe that'll change her mind. So
let me know when you come.
You'll be the first person I call. You know it.
It's been great having you guys with me today, and a little catch up on the old days and share some joy with our patrons out there who are watching the show. And really appreciate you taking your time out to share that with us today.
Sure. Thanks, man. Thank you for
take care of yourselves. Stay safe in quarantine, and hopefully we'll all get to see each other again someday.
Yes. Thanks, man.
Right.
See you later.
Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. It was great fun having them with us today. I hope you enjoyed our special Broadway matinee this afternoon. I do want to remind you that you can go to our website and get tickets to our drive-in Broadway show, which is starting May 28th, 29th, and 30th. It's 3 nights only. You can get tickets fhtaz.org. And while you're there, hey, make a donation. Click that big donate button. We would really appreciate it. Next weekend, we'll be back again with the Broadway Quarantine Cabaret Weekend. This coming Friday, the 15th, we're going to have another musical cast reunion for you with our Fountain Hills Theater Company of We Will Rock You, which was a big hit for us last season. We're going to have all the cast back together again, telling some stories about backstage antics and how they all came along with that show, and going to have a few of them sing for us as well. And then on Saturday, we'll be back at 7:30 our normal time on the 16th with a sneak peek teaser of our drive-in theater show. We'll have some of the stars of that show here to talk about what they might be doing in the show and talk to the creative team and see more about where this idea came from and tell you a little bit more about what to look forward to. So that's next week, and we hope we'll see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in today.